Dear students, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to talk to you about the technological developments in our labor market. So let's first take a look at our labor market. We have recovered from the economic crisis. Our economy has grown consecutively over the past 9 quarters now, and more people are benefiting. They are finding their way to new jobs. In just under 2 years, we've added 225,000 jobs in our country, in our economy. This gets to the total number of jobs of nearly 10 million jobs. Never before in the history of the Netherlands have there been so many jobs. Over the past 6 months, and we've seen that the decline in unemployment was highest among people over 45 years of age. That's a very hopeful message for that group that was left behind. All of this, of course, is good news. But it's no reason to sit back and relax, because there are still a lot of unemployed people, and any person who stands by the wayside is one too many. And in this context, people also worry about the impact of globalization, and in particular about technological developments. Robotics, digitization, the Internet of Things, 3D printing, virtual reality, all those fascinating new possibilities to a lot of people also feel threatening, worrying. All the more reason to talk today about the effects of digitization and robotization on our labor market, and to realize that robots and innovation do not just simply happen. We develop and encourage them ourselves. We send our children to school. We invest in universities. We stimulate innovations. In fact, our technical universities in the Netherlands, right here, make all kinds of robots and book global performances. And we are proud of this, because robots bring us much good. We desperately need to ensure that the wealth is not just taken exclusively by the companies who own the robots and by the 0.1% who own those companies, the stockholders of that very limited number of companies. And what's the point of robots if people can't afford to buy the products they make? So I think there's also an economic argument on a larger scale for redistribution and fair taxation in this day and age. Thanks to digitization, there are many online platforms that facilitate our lives. For example, platforms offering delivery of products at home, odd jobs around the house, or text writing services. On those websites, supply and demand find each other in a much more easy way than it used to be. And of course that's great, but there is also a big downside to the story. An on-demand system has emerged in which recipients of services, sometimes companies, sometimes individuals, tap the required amount of labor and then close the tap again right when the job is done. The Economist called this workers on tap as a result of the on-demand economy. The quality of work and the rates of many self-employed workers are under pressure as a result of the intense competition on those online platforms. Dutch magazine De Groene Amsterdammer noted that a word rate of 10 to 15 cents in the mainstream media is already shamefully low, but that a fee of 1 or 2 cents per word is no exception in the service through online platforms such as Textbroker. Just imagine, 1 or 2 cents a word. It may not be easy and perhaps even require elections first, but more customization seems necessary to stop the race to ever lower rates for self-employed workers. We must compete on quality, and of course the price plays a role, but now self-employed workers have to pay the price for their labor. So yes, robots are fascinating, but let's not forget that humans are pretty fascinating as well. So by deploying robots well, in the right way, on our terms, on our conditions, we can help many people. Making a robot guide dog for the blind, robotic limbs that almost look and function like normal ones, exoskeletons that can help crippled people walk again, and not so long now, and wheelchairs will be a thing of the past. Or robot dolls like Casper, who can help autistic children out of their isolation. There's also robot Agnes for the elderly. Agnes is never tired and never loses her patience and helps her remember things. So we must ask ourselves the question of which new robots can be used to help vulnerable groups. More than 1.5 million people are illiterate or low literate. Can we develop robots that read text to them? It could prevent many accidents, for example in the workplace. More than 1.5 million people have intellectual disabilities and are facing more and more difficulties in our rapidly changing society. Part of this group is experiencing social exclusion, resulting in loneliness. Can we help them with robots? Can we improve their self-reliance? From a technological perspective, much is already possible. About 30% of the Dutch population think that around the year 2040 we will colonize another planet. I think today we have discussed how technological innovation, such as robotics, is something that we want to develop. By designing robots, we can also design our own future. I always like, as a good example of a very ambitious goal, the Apollo space program, 1961, when President John F. Kennedy told the United States Congress that America had a new goal, to land a man on the moon and return him safely to the Earth. And for a whole decade, people worked extremely hard on that goal, and they did so successfully. Neil Armstrong stood on the moon in 1969, and the Apollo program was a great success. Without government intervention, this could not have been possible. Kennedy set a target, and the entire government made it possible. As a result, they not only accelerated technological development, but also guided it in a certain direction. They didn't wait to see where technology would lead them. I believe we also need some kind of Apollo program for the future of our labor market. One that allows everyone to profit, one that is ambitious and costs money, yes, but is also well worth the investment. One that ensures that everyone in society and society as a whole will benefit. Kennedy's brother Robert once said, "There are those that look at things the way they are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not." Our future may be better if we set goals, join forces and ensure sufficient capacity. And I also challenge you, the bright future of the Netherlands. You are very likely to have a job soon, but others will not be so lucky. I would like you to make an effort for those people. For example, by encouraging your employer to take on board more vulnerable groups or to contribute to physical solutions for people with disabilities. Because one thing is certain, whoever doesn't want to do anything will find an apology. Whoever does will find the means. Thank you very much.